This is the May episode of the Sponsorship Experts podcast with Paul Poole, the founder of the Sponsorship Experts and director of Paul Poole Southeast Asia. In this episode of the podcast, we'll talk about a number of new commercial sponsorship and partnership opportunities available, including Redline Fitness Games 2025 in Thailand. We also take a closer look at the popularity of functional fitness events, also in Thailand. So here we are for the May podcast. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Of course you are. You're sat in a room with me wearing a microphone.
Indeed.
Bit of a clue that you're ready, I think. Okay, so there's a theme running through this month's podcast in that we don't really have a lot of different things to talk about. We have two things to talk about, but they're both on the same kind of groove, and that's functional fitness.
Yeah.
And so the first thing we're going to talk about is Redline.
Yep, so this is a new event for us, Redline Fitness Games 2025 Thailand. So the inaugural event will take place here in Bangkok on the 6th to the 7th of December at Queen Sirikit National Convention Centre. Redline started in Malaysia in 2023,
right.
And we see it now expanding across the region, and Thailand being the first place other than Malaysia to host it. This race series takes participants through 12 different fitness categories, and I won't go into a lot of detail because you're jumping on a call with Roman after this section, and he'll probably go into detail about that.
Yeah.
But this is a grueling race. You said, as you mentioned, it's about functional fitness, so it's about regular movement, etc. And we've seen over the years working with mass participation sporting events, there are lots of races for swimming, cycling, running, but there really isn't anything for those gym goers. So this is really, or a series of these events are really for those gym goers.
Would it be fair to characterise it as gym activities turned into a sport?
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to look at CrossFit.
Or made competitive.
Well, it's a competition for those gym goers. So I think it really grew out of CrossFit and the popularity of CrossFit, and now the popularity of general fitness or physical fitness. We've seen, just here in Bangkok, you can see all of every single shopping mall, every single office building has a gym.
Yeah.
But also hidden beneath that, there's lots of boutique gyms for CrossFit and for physical fitness. So there's a real boom in gyms here in Bangkok.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been anything for those gym goers to compete in because it's just, unless they're doing triathlons or swimming, cycling or running events, there hasn't been anything. So this really fills that space. So
it's mass participation.
It's still mass participation. I mean, I think the Malaysian event, the first Malaysian event had 6,500 participant spectators. We're expecting the same or if not more for Redline Fitness Games in the inaugural year. So it's absolute mass participation. It's for gym goers. I mean it's really for gym goers. If
you think wherever you're living, listening to this, just think of how many gyms you see. And they're typically busy, and like you said, they're everywhere. I mean, I think the reason I'm not a gym member is because the choice is so big. I just get confused and
I don't think that's the reason, to be honest, Trevor.
You never know. That might be the reason. I noticed we're not going to go into too much detail because we are going to speak to Roman, who's the guy. The Redline man. So we're not going to go into too much detail about the activities between us, because he knows about it. He's the expert. But one thing I did notice is that it did say that it's split into all levels. So I mean, should we be thinking about this? I mean,
well, you and I shouldn't be thinking about this. I mean, I mentioned earlier I was laughing in the car driving over to the cigar club that we're speaking from with bourbon about talking about fitness events. But definitely, I mean, just to give you some context, I mean, Roman Flosser, he's brought Redline to Thailand. So he bought the license for Redline. He's also an old client of ours. I mean, he's been actually our longest running client.
Yeah, he's got a lot of form in this kind of industry.
I mean, co-founder of the Laguna Phuket Marathon that we've represented for 2 decades. And he'll go into a lot more detail about Redline, about the Laguna Phuket Marathon, I'm assuming, and also mass participation sporting events in general as he's looking across the region. But to answer your point, Redline is it's a competition open to individuals, doubles, or teams of 4 at all fitness levels. And you're quite right, perhaps not all fitness levels.
I'm sure there's a fitness level that excludes me. Specifically, they just call it the Trev level. Below, like those things that they have at fairgrounds where it says, you have to be this tall to ride this ride.
Exactly.
And there'll be another one that says
you have to be this round, not.
You have to be this round to not be in one of our groups. As we mentioned during the podcast, we've been very lucky to get an interview with sports entrepreneur, mass participation specialist, Roman Flörser. And Roman, the first question is, how impressed are you that I pronounced your second name correctly?
Yeah, pretty impressed, but I have to say, it took us 15 minutes of practicing before the recording, right?
You're not supposed to say that. You've broken the fourth wall.
Still very impressed.
All right, so let's get down to it. The first thing, obviously, we want to talk about is, top of mind, is the Redline event. And so tell us what you want everyone to know about that.
Yeah, so I'm super excited. We've just secured the license for the Redline Fitness Games in Bangkok. Redline was started in Malaysia about 2 years ago. They will have their third event in July. It's been super successful. It's a functional fitness event of 12 functional exercises. And it's a very accessible, high energy, high intensity type of event that's great for beginners, but also really challenging for more advanced athletes.
Okay, and you've got the full range of ability levels taking part this time, right?
Yeah, correct. So it's really an event for all levels of ability. For people who might have just started their fitness journey, joined a gym, and might have started some workouts, to the more advanced athletes as well. So it's really a wide range of participants. Yeah.
I think Paul and I established during our bit of the podcast that there would be a cutoff, and the cutoff would be a picture of either me or Paul.
Okay.
Like those you've got to be this tall to ride kind of thing. It's like you've got to be less than this round to take part.
Yeah. No, but the great thing really is there's different formats. So there's a single format which is for individual athletes, and they do all 12 exercises. But then we also have the doubles. They can be done with 2 males, 2 females, or as a mixed. And those 2 athletes will be sharing exercises, or each exercise if they choose to. So you can take turns at each exercise, or divide the 12 exercises up in whichever way they choose. And there's also a team relay. That's a team of 4. So everyone will be doing 3 functional fitness exercises. And we've also got a corporate team division. That's for teams of 4. It works like the double. So teams of 4 can split up the exercises. So it really becomes very, very achievable, really, for everybody. Even I would say almost without much prior experience in the gym, you'd be able to complete some of the exercises with some teammates.
I'm sure Paul and I could join in at some sort of managerial level, perhaps.
Well, I think I've got you guys doing doubles already.
All right. So, just off the top of your head, I mean, how many of the actual games can you mention?
So there's a total of 12 exercises. We start off with a 500-meter run. And that is followed by, if you give me a moment, I'll actually run through it.
So yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
So yeah, I'll just got to bring it up.
It's not easy to remember 12 off the bat.
So we start off with a 500-meter run, which is followed by a ski erg exercise. So it's like cross-country skiing basically. So it's upper body. Very important also to have good cardio there. Then we do the dreaded, I would say, dead ball burpees. That's a challenge for a lot of people. So it's basically a burpee, and then you throw up an exercise ball over a bar, and then it comes back, and you do that. You repeat that until you've hit the target. Then there's a bike exercise on a bike erg, followed by a farmer's carry. So you'll be carrying around kettlebells. That is followed by a shuttle run. Then we have Russian twists, which is a classic exercise as well, a floor exercise with weights. The sandbag gauntlet, which is a series of squats and walking lunges while carrying a sandbag. So that will definitely give people some jelly legs. Then we've got a row exercise on a row erg, followed by squat thrusts, which is also a classic, and it's fast and furious exercise. We then have the mule, where we carry sequence of progressively getting heavier sandbags, and then in the end we have a sled push and pull. And once that's completed, the race is done. So that's the 12 exercises.
I think I've got jelly legs just listening.
Yeah, I've got the jelly arms. I'm struggling with the upper body stuff.
Do you actually do all these events yourself? I mean, are you is this a passion that's turned into an event for you?
Yeah, my background is triathlon, so I've got the cardio base for this, I guess. Some of the things we would probably do obviously the running part we do quite regularly. I wouldn't say I'm a gym rat at all. Like I in the past worked out outdoors. But I think that was also because I felt that competitive element going to the gym was lacking. And I think that void has now been filled with this type of format, like the Redline format. There's actually some purpose other than just improving your fitness, but you can actually go out and compete with others. And so that competitive element, I think, has brought me to the gym as well, and motivated me to work out in the gym and doing these exercises. And I know that a few of them I really have to work hard on, while others I don't really need to do much work on it. The fitness is there. So, but yeah, I'll be doing this one in July. I'll be going down to KL, doing the individual race there, and I'm really excited, looking forward to that.
Yeah, I think it is a kind of natural progression, isn't it, for the type of personalities that are into, being in the gym, tend to also be competitive people as well. So it was a natural progression for the two worlds to eventually merge, or for a competitive team element to make its way into the gym, right?
Absolutely. And I mean, I have to say, fitness is absolutely booming in Thailand. There's gyms popping up everywhere. Like I said, I've joined some training sessions now to specifically training for Redline, and the classes offering functional fitness are all full. And so that's really exciting to see. And a lot of Thais have started exercising now. A lot of people started running a few years ago, and now you see a move also towards gyms. And especially a young generation, Gen Z, seem to be skipping that whole party drinking lifestyle that our generation probably still engaged in, and they're very health conscious now, and they, rather than going to the pub or to the nightclub, they go to the gym, and that's where they meet their friends, and that's where their community is. And I think it's a very healthy trend, and it's great, and it's exciting, and we're really excited to provide a competitive arena for them to really compete. And big events also, they really, there's something else. I mean, you go to a gym and you work out and you in a small group. But major events, they just take it to another level, and there's a different set of emotions, and it's also a celebration of all the training that people put in. So people really do enjoy going to these larger scale events and soak up the atmosphere and share experience with the community.
That sense of community is always good, and I mean it's part of most established sports. So this is quite new, but that community is already there, and I guess it's a good chance for people to learn from each other as well.
Yeah, I mean, what I would suggest,
information, techniques, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I would suggest is always listen to your coach or your personal trainer. I think that's very important because they really know how to do these exercises properly.
Who do they listen to? That's what I want to know. Who coaches the coach?
Yeah, well, there's actually a pretty good system in Thailand already in training trainers, their certifications and so on. So that's a very high standard already in Thailand, I have to say, from what I've seen. But yeah, it is important to listen to the coaches and doing the exercises properly. Like I said, they're not extremely difficult, which again makes the sport very accessible. But to prevent injuries, it is important to do them properly with the right technique.
Okay, have you any indication about how much interest there is at this stage, or is it a bit too early?
We're opening registration next week, so we've just launched our social media channels, and we've had a soft launch event in Bangkok a few weeks ago. But also, I've been speaking to my friends in the community, and there's definitely a lot of excitement. There's quite a few of my friends who are I would say opinion leaders in the community, and they speak to a lot of people as well, and they're very successful athletes in this sport already. And I know from them that there's a lot of exciting, and people have started talking, and we've recently also announced our venue, which is the Queen Sirikit National Convention Center in Bangkok. And I think again that was quite a statement, I would say, because it's such a wonderful venue since it's been redeveloped recently. It's absolutely world class. It's right smack bang in the middle of Bangkok. It's easily accessible by public transport. There's parking, there's restaurants, there's coffee shops. So even though the race might only take an hour or two, people might hang out there all day, watch some of their friends race, but then also can enjoy the facilities there. So
it's a perfect spot.
We're really excited.
You're right.
Yeah, and that's also we wanted to position this event as a premium experience, and we felt that we needed the right venue for that, and so we're really, really thrilled to be it.
The original one in Malaysia is extremely well attended, and it is a mass participation event, right?
Yeah, they're looking at over 6,000 participants this year, and that also considering that Malaysia and KL is a lot smaller than Bangkok. So I think they've done extremely well. It's very well received. They get a lot of repeaters as well. So I think everybody who's joined the first year keeps coming back. And then obviously, like I said before, there's a lot of new people coming into the sport. So they're looking at a sellout for July, and so hopefully we can pick up some of that momentum as well and sell out our event also.
Great stuff. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is, unless you've got anything else that I haven't asked you about that you feel is important for that section.
I think we've covered it all, and like I said before, I've got you down for a double together with Paul, so I think we're all sorted.
If you can introduce competitive cigar smoking, perhaps we're in with a chance. All right. So now talking about Paul, I mean, you first started working with Paul Poole Southeast Asia with the Laguna Phuket Marathon. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Right. So do you want to talk a bit more about that this year?
Yeah, sure. So there's actually been quite some changes. So I'm one of the co-founders of the event. We founded the event in 2004 with the first edition taking place in 2006. So it was actually born out of a crisis recovery with the tsunami hitting southern Thailand quite badly, especially Phuket, and affecting tourism there. There was a lot of initiatives at that time to help bring tourists back to Phuket and create some positive news about the destination. And so we together with Laguna Phuket, founded the Laguna Phuket Marathon in 2006, and it's since become one of Asia's leading destination marathons.
Yeah, I was actually living in Bang Tao at the time when the first, when the tsunami came, obviously, and then when the marathon came. And I remember as a community, everyone was just, really happy that people were taking positive steps towards the recovery, and I think that the marathon certainly played its part in that, and in keeping Phuket as a positive thing, in people's minds, So not just on a marketing level, but as an event for people to get involved in as well.
Yeah,
I knew people on the island who had never thought about running the marathon, who took part in that, or at least took part in part of it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think the event has community as its core. It's really embraced the local community, and the local community has embraced the event. Be it as runners, but also, we have 800 volunteers on the day, and they all come out, and then obviously we run through various communities, and people are out there and cheering on our runners, and supporting in whichever way they can, local schools, and the kids come out.
I remember that, and then over the years, I moved away from Phuket 7 years ago, but over the years I remember, that event really caught up everyone's imagination, and everyone was involved at different levels. All right. Yeah. So the other thing I wanted to talk about in a bit of a wider context is this growth in mass participation sporting events. I mean, how do you account for that?
Yes, I think especially in Southeast Asia, where I've been for the last 20 years, it's really taken off. First with running, probably about 10 years ago, and now there's so many different types of events. Like I say, functional fitness, obviously being the next trend, but cycling's also become very popular. I think it's really, for one, I think obviously the region, people have become a lot more affluent. There's a growing middle class. They have more free time, more disposable income, and they look for things to do. And the great thing is, they want to be active. They want to have an active and healthy lifestyle, and I think that's all reasons why this industry has grown. There's also so many great destinations. Again, coming back to Laguna Phuket Marathon, I mean, for many people, this is not just about running an event, a marathon or a half marathon, but it's about going on a holiday, taking the family along, and enjoying whatever else the destination has to offer. So I think that's been a big driver here in the region as well. And also, very, very easy to travel around the region there.
And with the budget airlines, it's really reasonable to get around the whole of Asia now. Once you get here,
Correct. And I think what it also is, and that's what COVID has taught us, when basically all physical events stopped, we went virtual. A lot of organizers put on some virtual events because that was the only way of engaging with our participants. And they were very successful during that time, those virtual events. And there was probably a bit of a concern also that people might move more towards that rather than, going to events and traveling. They say, I can do an event from home and I'll submit my performance and I get a medal and a T-shirt and I'm happy. But what we've really seen...
I thought you meant something like esports, which the fascination with which I've never understood.
Yeah,
I thought by virtual, you meant people were playing it on a PlayStation, against each other.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Roman, this has been great. It's good to put the flesh on the bones of what we were talking about in the podcast. So thank you very much.
Well, thanks for having me, Trevor. That was fun.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right. Bye-bye.
Certainly did. Bye-bye.
If you'd like to get in touch with Paul Pool Southeast Asia Co Limited, you can email us on info@paulpool.co.th, or you can go to the website paulpool.co.th, or you can call us on +66 2622 0605 through to 7. All right. So, what are the opportunities related to this?
So, as always, we've developed a comprehensive commercial sponsorship and partnership program that fits most brands' needs and budgets. We have in tier one, one title sponsor and one presenting sponsor, both with naming rights to the event. In tier two, we have up to 6 official co-sponsors. Those 8 sponsors or monetary sponsors, so making a monetary investment. But we also have a tier 3 official suppliers and official media partners, and we're looking for 10 of each of those. And that's where brands can actually provide goods and services that are essential to the event, so VIK, value in kind. And then specifically for Redline Fitness Games 2025 Thailand, we have a tier 4 packages available for industry partners, and that's really packages for fitness industry businesses, so people working in the fitness space, whether it be equipment, whether it be gyms, whether it be food and beverage or supplements, etc. So that's the space for them.
The next thing we're going to talk about is functional fitness in a broader context. And I was thinking, because of the venues that these take place in, that they were more like an expo kind of opportunity. But that's not the case, right?
No, you're right. They're taking place in MICE venues, not traditional sport venues, MICE venues. And the reason being, as we mentioned when we're talking about Redline, is these are mass participation sporting events of 10,000 plus participants. So we need those larger aircon spaces. Yeah. And as we've seen, I mean, functional fitness has experienced significant surge in popularity here in Thailand, particularly in Bangkok.
Right.
And this was really born out of niche workout sessions and trends.
That's kind of must be a bit influencer led.
Actually,
a bit YouTube and TikTok kind of.
I think you're absolutely right. I think a lot of the gyms, a lot of the chain gyms, and also the boutique gyms. Yeah, lots of influence are working out of those gyms. The competitions in that functional fitness space. There's a lot of influencers, lots of social media. I mean, they're really grueling competitions. Yeah. And it's a boom right now. I mean, the significance, particularly in Bangkok, with movement. I think movement's a good word because, these guys that participate in these competitions really are like very tribal. The tribal to their gyms, the tribal to their groups. They motivate each other to compete, and it's really very, very interesting. And I should say, I mean, we talked about Redline. Obviously, Redline's our client, and that's the Redline Fitness Games Thailand is the event we're focused on in terms of our services. So some notable functional fitness events in 2025 here in Bangkok include BYD Hyrox Bangkok 2025. That takes place at the Bangkok International Trade and Exhibition Centre, BITEC. Obviously, that venue is one of our clients, and that's taking place at the end of May. The Ultimate Fitness Force, TUF 2025, is happening at Icon Siam in June. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, Redline Fitness Games 2025 Thailand will be taking place at Queen Sirikit National Convention Centre in early December. So, there's a real boom of these types of events. There are a few other events happening that haven't been announced yet in that space. So, I think it's a real trend. And I think it's quite interesting to see the move for those gym goers, aside from those other mass events that we work on, swimming, cycling, and running.
I think it's got a cauldron of things happening with it. In that, we spoke about influencers. I think what we've got with this is that a lot of people go to gyms. Okay, so it's a mass participation activity, not an event. It's like people go every day. People become addicted to going to the gym. I know a couple of people just like that. It affects their mood if they can't do that, and I understand it. But then you've got the social media, because it's a hobby, they're interested in it. They pay attention to that. Yeah. And obviously the people who are good at it rise to the top of that. So then there's a social contagion element to it. And so, I mean, this is my, everyday world is involved in that. And if you've got those things, something that people engage with because they do it, and then you've got some sort of social contagion going on, I think it's a recipe for massive growth.
Yeah, and I think, you look at the types of groups competing in these types of functional fitness events. The new generation aren't out there on a Friday night drinking, clubbing.
I wondered where they'd gone.
They are in the gym, twice a day, every day. And I think, the younger generation are really focused on their health, fitness and well-being. And that's why all the gyms are booming, why there are chain gyms, why there are boutique gyms, why there are these events.
And so for sponsors, what would you say the demo is?
Well, I think it's really 20 to 45, even split male female. So it's really the perfect demographic for most brands. Also, we should say that, gym memberships are not inexpensive. If people have equipment at home, is not inexpensive. Competing in functional fitness events is not inexpensive. Okay. It's more expensive than a traditional marathon, for example.
So it's an affluent demo.
So actually high net worth individuals. So this is really sort of middle to upper class participants that have disposable income and that are willing to spend on their health, fitness and well-being. So I think it's a very interesting category or segment of mass participation.
Great to be involved at the start of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, this year we've seen the boom with a number of these events starting in Bangkok. Obviously, mass participation sporting events have been around for a very, very long time. We've done a lot of marathons, a lot of runs over the years, both in Bangkok and outside of Bangkok. Participation in those types of events has declined post-COVID. So I think maybe people have got out of the habit of doing those events. Also, travel has become a little bit more expensive. Hotels have become a little bit more expensive. So people are looking for other things to do. So I think this is a really great time for these functional fitness events to start. So really looking forward to Redline in December. And we will be watching the others with interest as well.
All right. Any other business?
Yeah. So if you're interested, you can meet our team at the FC Bayern 125th anniversary celebration in Bangkok on the 14th of May. That's taking place at Kimpton Mali, and we'll see, I think, 4 of FC Bayern's senior management come over from Munich for that event. It's a B2B event, so it's for their management to meet with the movers and shakers in Bangkok. They're not our client, they're actually our subsidiary's client, ASN, where FC Bayern subscribe, but also ASN has done some smart lead gen, inviting some of those key players to that event. Also, a little bit later in the month, Supersports 10 Mile Run Thailand 2025, happening on the 18th of May. At the start and finish line at Central World, always a huge event. I think we've got upwards of 10,000 participants running in that event. So you'll see us on the start finish line there too.
But not running.
But definitely not running.
All right, that's it.
I spilled my drink.
Drop your cigar. All right, that's it for this month. Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you, Trevor.
Seeking sponsors. Seeking an opportunity to sponsor. Looking to maximise an already sponsored opportunity? Visit paulpaul.co.th, the sponsorship experts.